Hey, Snoopy Soapbox Racers went vertical this week, and for real this time. I'm Ryan Sir along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans because that's who we are and that's who we care about.
Yeah, so the first pieces of support and track have been installed in Snoopy Soapbox Racers. So the ride is
It's always an
officially
exciting
vertical.
time. Yeah, always an exciting time, when that happens and you're working at a park or you're a pass holder, a coaster enthusiast, just seeing those first pieces of steel go up, it's something that you always remember.
Yeah, I guess that's one of those days that, as you mentioned, it's one of those ones you'll remember because it's definitely it becomes real. It you know It's kinda like holding your baby for the first time, you knew that you were having a baby coming, but now you really know you're having a baby because 'cause you're holding
Yeah,
it.
when I worked there, I mean, I still remember, when the first piece of steel went up on Diamondback, the first piece of steel went up on Banshee, the first bent went in on Mystic Timber. So you remember those kind of things when you're involved with the park.
Yeah, you remember as a guest as well. So in addition to this news, Linus Launcher, Franklin's Flyers, Charlie Brown's Rushing River Log Ride, and Woodstock's Air Rail, that's a little bit of a mouthful, have all had their new logos revealed, so they all look really good too.
Yeah, they look adorable. My favorite one was Woodstock's Air Rail because I like Woodstock's kind of like in a mailbox. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I saw that one too. The Rushing River Log Ride looks a lot like the old logo. But Linus Launcher and Franklin's Flyers logos, they look really good. But it's first piece of track installed, some new rides. So a lot of news coming out of Camp Snoopy, but not a lot of noise compared to other new attractions throughout the industry. It's kind of limited to local media. Good Gravy, for example, has had 4,000 earned media placements, including nationwide TV news, Yahoo News, Food and Wine magazine. They cheated though because they named it Gravy. Bob and
Right.
Tom Show, CNN, Food Network. So it seems like the park kind of limits themselves to Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter, local media, the blog. Your typical quintessential avenues of information. Don, if you were going to come out of PR retirement and you were handed this project, what would you do differently to drum up more interest in it?
PR retirement. I still do some freelance projects, but anyway, what I would do, Ryan. Let's start at the beginning when it was first announced. What I would have done is I would have taken a couple of the characters, Charlie Brown and Snoopy, put hard hats on them, had the general manager Mike Kuntz right in the middle of them. They've all got shovels just to say that ground has broken. Put a little caption to it, get it to Associated Press. That way, that kind of a picture with the right caption would get picked up throughout the region, and it would have been off to a good start. A lot more awareness than outside your backyard with you've got this brand new area that's going to be spectacular there. And then as it progressed a little bit and things started to develop, started to take shape a little bit, at that point in time, I would bring out the characters again, a couple of them, Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Linus, and have them like holding blueprints
Mhm.
and have it facing like the shot where you see the Eiffel Tower in the background so you know where they're
Mhm.
at. Again, that kind of a photo, with a very, creative, compelling storytelling type of a caption would be picked up. And at minimum, it would go throughout the
Mm.
region. So again, a lot more awareness, being created for it. I would also, and this would be around this time right now, I would, as the vertical construction is beginning on Snoopy Soapbox Racers, I would have a kid caster to do updates on YouTube once a week. The kid caster is filling everybody in on what's going on. I think that would be a lot more, interesting and exciting than what they're doing on the blog by just putting a couple of paragraphs. Today we did this and that and the other. Something was dumped off in the parking lot. But I think that would kind of be engaging. And again, it's a kid's area, so who better to tell the story than a kid, right?
So you would actually have like a child do telling the story and
Do the
acting as a
updates.
reporter and
Do the
so on.
updates on YouTube. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Kid caster. You see this at some other parks have done that. Sports teams have done that. With a kid caster. I think that it would be something that if you were to release something every week at the same time, people are going to your YouTube channel to see it.
Hmm.
So you're driving the growth and awareness of your YouTube channel, and it's something people be talking about. It's different than just driving them to a blog where there's just some copy. If just the latest update is, we got some more tracking today. With that, I would also do, now that they've started to go vertical, I wouldn't let it go too much longer. I would invite the media out for a construction tour.
Hmm.
And I would also invite some of the YouTubers, the bloggers, from around the industry, the ones that have pretty good reach. And I would take them around to different areas and kind of describe exactly what's going to be in that spot. So let them get their visuals of the construction and the construction workers doing their thing,
Hmm.
but have like a rendering, because I know they've got renderings of each of those different components of Camp Snoopy, and have that kind of an easel, have the rendering so you can see what it's going to look like, compare it to what's going on right now, move to each location, and have somebody available to talk after the construction tour. Make Mike Kuntz, the general manager, available. Uh, Whoever is overseeing the project from the maintenance side at Kings Island, let them be the ones talking and filling everybody in, giving the updates on how they're progressing. And then after you're done with that, you feed them lunch. So you start just around 10 o'clock, you have lunch at noon, and the menu items are what's going to be in Pigpen's mess hall, the new dining location that's going to be in Camp Snoopy. So it's a way to get some discussion about that, which hasn't really been mentioned too much other than just in passing. So you want people to know that there's a new dining area as well. So those are the kind of things that I would do. Have it, starting now with the construction tour with the media. I wouldn't wait too much longer. I'd do it now. And then when the train arrives and it's on the track, I would have each of the characters get in a car, and I would take that photo and send that out again, Associated Press, nice compelling thing, and that this attraction opens. By that time, you hopefully have the opening date or around there, and you send that out. And that's another way to get people talking about it. It's fun, it's cute, it's adorable. You tell the right story about it, so you get it out there, and you get a little bit further reach than just the local media.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. I'm surprised they haven't really done much since the announcement as far as inviting the media out and so on. I realize that like the first piece of track was just installed, but there could have been things that drummed up excitement about it.
Yeah, but you've got that in there now, so if you knew that was going to go in today, which is a Wednesday, then plan for next week. Tuesday or Thursday next week. Invite the media out. Have them come out at 10 o'clock in the morning. They're going to come out. They're interested in it. They're excited about it, and just let them go around and take them station to station out there, get their shots. It's right now all anyone's really talking about is there's a new roller
Right.
coaster. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, right?
Yeah,
So if
absolutely.
you take them to each spot on this construction tour, you're just creating a lot more interest, a lot more awareness of what Camp Snoopy is. And now's the time to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. So you mentioned that there's more to it. So there's also going to be a new kids play area for kids to play and families to relax. Beagle Scout Acres will be designed like a campsite filled with turfed mounds and grassy areas, interactive equipment to make noise, tents to climb through or over, and footprint paths made by Woodstock and his friends. So yeah, you're right about that. And actually, it's funny because you mentioned the what's the restaurant called? Pigpen's what?
Mess hall.
Pigpen's Mess Hall. I'd actually forgotten that they were doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not really out there. There's not a lot of awareness for it. So by doing that construction tour, you create awareness for that, and you let them, have that as their meal. Now, it might be basics. It might be hot dogs, hamburgers, and it's going to be your camp food. I would imagine. I haven't seen a menu, but it doesn't have to be fancy. It's just what it is. Let guests know, what's happening, what to expect, build up their anticipation for it. And I think that there's a lot of storytelling that can be done with this.
Yeah, I
It's not
yeah.
just a piece of track came in, today, and we put in the first piece there. There's just so much more to it that from where I sit right now, very interested in what's going on there. There's a lot more that could be told, and and released than what's happening so far.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, um, it's still gonna be it's gonna be a really good area. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's a lot to look forward to. So that's gonna open up in late spring. We don't have an exact date yet. Probably the park has an idea of when it's going to open, but not an exact date. So we get to look forward to that sometime in probably May or so.
Hmm.
So we're going to have Snoopy Soapbox Racers at Play Area, Beagle Scout Acres. It's going to be in a part of the park that was just very desolate and stuff. So it's one of the parts of the park that just really needed a hug, and it got it. I've said it before. Don, let's move on to the listener question. Um, you want to read it or should I?
You can go
Okay.
ahead.
So this is from Daniel Sadnick. He says, "Do you think that the new amphitheater coming to the Coney Island location will expedite the removal of Timberwolf? And if so, where would you rather put a coaster, there or the Vortex spot?" Why don't you take it first, Don?
I don't think it has any impact at all in regards to Timberwolf. They've had Riverbend down there, for years. It didn't impact Timberwolf. So no, I don't think it's going to have anything to do whatsoever about the future of Timberwolf.
I agree. I don't think that the future of Timberwolf is particularly bright, but on that same token, I don't think that they're going to be like, all right, they're opening another venue. Let's close Timberwolf. Timberwolf is there's a couple things that are going to do Timberwolf in. Number one, obviously, is they find a better use for the space, something where they can make money. Um, which would, I mean, that's a big plot of land. So there's a lot of ideas I can float around. Secondly, is the only organization that really uses it is the Christian Music Festival, Spirit
Yeah,
Song.
Spirit
Yeah,
Song.
they use it in Ernst, so they actually like have concerts there. I know like there's cheerleading competitions and stuff, and they'll use that. Not cheerleading anymore. Now it's band, right? Yeah, music in the parks. But with that being said, I don't think that they necessarily need a 10,000 seat venue for that. Um, so if any or all of those things end up dropping out and they just have absolutely no use for it, there'll probably be another another look at the property and what to do with it. I would rather see something go into the
Yet
vortex spot than there, by the way, because I think the vortex spot is an eyesore.
I agree with you there. I would put it in the Vortex spot before taking out Timberwolf and putting something there. I do think though, with Timberwolf, there is still some opportunity there. You can't write it off yet. I think there's some of those smaller bands that, maybe you're only looking to sell 2,500 to 3,000 tickets for, where you can do something like, concerts in the park on Friday nights or something like that. I think there's still that opportunity. But there has to be a lot of things have to come together. You have to have somebody who's really dedicated to managing that function. Back in the '80s, Kings Island did have someone that was their job, was Timberwolf. So you need to hire someone in that position that would manage that function. But you never know. In a few years, the merger goes through. Maybe it's something that they want to take a look back at again and bring in some of these smaller acts.
Well, if we learned anything from the 2022 season, it's that you can book acts, but you got to be precise because the season that they had for the Timberwolves was clearly thrown together, and because of that, they didn't sell enough tickets. I had a great time. I loved the Timberwolf. I went to over half of the concerts at the Timberwolf in 2022, and I had a fantastic experience. So I'm completely rooting for them to bring it back. But I think that the things that you mentioned of they've got to want to do it, they've got to have somebody dedicated to it. I As it stands now, I don't see that happening. But you're right. With
No,
the merger, you
yeah,
know,
you, you can't just stick your foot in the water. You got to jump in if you're going to do it.
yeah. Yeah, and, so but one thing that they did try was selling tickets to Timberwolf that did not include park admission, but I almost think that that was counterintuitive to what they built the Timberwolf for, because wasn't it all about getting people in the park ultimately, you know?
Yeah, but I do think, for me, it was always, have that, late June through July, those Friday, 6 weeks of just, concerts in the park. It's every Friday night. Just something like that, I think would be the way to go. But I don't see that happening over the next couple of years, but down the road, who knows?
Yeah, so basically what we're settling on is if they don't find a better use of that plot of land, before they decide to bring back the concerts, then maybe there's hope. All right, cool. Hey, great question. Thank you for submitting it. I'm Ryan Sir along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.